Thank you. Thank you for joining us for our 7th annual Firebase Summit, live from New York City. My name is Francis, and I lead developer products here at Google. And it's been a while since we've hosted our developer conference in person. And it's so energizing to have everybody here with us today. So whether you're here in the room or on the live stream, welcome. Now at Google, we firmly believe that developers play a critical role in making our lives better, whether it's in building apps to help people stay informed, or creating software to solve important challenges like global warming and climate change. And that's why we're investing in the tools and technology to help you build a better future. For example, through our investments in open web projects like Chromium, we're pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the browser. Or our modern Android development tools and APIs and technologies to help you lower your development costs and build high-quality apps that run on billions of devices. And with our open source framework like Flutter, that lets you help build beautiful multi-platform apps, all with a single code base. Now, we also recognize that as app development advances, the work that you have to do and the tools that you rely on have also become more complex. And sometimes it's hard to find the solutions that fits your tech stack. And so we're committed to delivering flexible and integrated solutions that lets you use the best of Google and third-party tools so you can build the highest quality apps and the most trusted experiences that people can rely on. And one of the ways that we're doing this is through our continuous investment in Firebase, Google's app development platform. And today, we're excited to share new updates and features we're making to help you make your app the best it can be. And to share more, I'm going to pass it off to Kara.
Thank you, Francis. Wow, this is different in person. Thank you for coming, everyone. I'm Kara Yu, and I work on the product team for Firebase. At Firebase, our mission is to help developers succeed by making it easy to build and grow apps users love. We bring together tools, technology, and backend services all in one place. Millions of developers, from startups to enterprises, use Firebase to reach and engage billions of users. We love hearing about the delightful and innovative ways you're building with Firebase. All over the world, developers are solving challenging problems to help them improve the lives of people in their communities. Let's take a look at some of our stories.
It's like making me emotional just actually talking about it.
Where can I go to use my skills for something good?
Oh my God, this can be solved using technology.
The amount of vehicles in the cities is just too much. Traffic congestion, pollution, noise. Moya's mission is to put 1 million cars away out of the streets by providing a new way of mobility where we pool people together but still give them a comfortable space. Firebase helps us to monitor our applications and to guarantee we are not breaking any existing features when we add new ones in the Firebase test lab.
I got to know boutique owners, and I got to understand the problem that they were having tracking their inventory. So what Faves does, it helps them keep track of what they purchase. They know exactly how much to spend and when the goods are supposed to arrive into the stores. With Firebase, we have been able to easily scale. So now we're in 15 countries and 48 states.
Like, how can we increase education effectiveness? How can we help teachers do their jobs better? ClassKick is a collaborative platform on which students do all their work and get feedback and collaboration from their teachers and peers. Can we do that at scale? Can we do it at the scale of tens of millions of students and teachers? The answer is yes, thanks to Firebase.
It's a wonderful thing to just see this positive effect that Faves has to these entrepreneurs that empower them to actually contribute and do better in their community.
When we achieve our goal and people leave their own private vehicles at home, we will have less noise, less emissions, and bring back more green space for the people.
The biggest reward in any of your days is when you see those wheels turning and students they're really engaged and they're working on something, and all of a sudden it's that light bulb moment.
It's just wonderful to see the positive impact that these developers are having on their communities. As a parent, seeing ClassKick lower barriers to education and support kids as they learn is personally really meaningful. These stories are what inspire us to keep making Firebase a more comprehensive and powerful platform that suits your needs. In this keynote, we're excited to show you how we're strengthening Firebase's integration with popular developer products, both from Google and the open ecosystem of tools out there, so you can accelerate app development, run your app with confidence, and make your app the best it can be for your users and your business. Let's get started. Now, the journey of building an app is exciting. For some people, it starts when they get this great idea for a web app, and then they buy the domain, and that's where the journey ends. Reality is, the journey from that light bulb moment to actually getting an app launched can be a complex and time-consuming process. Firebase provides fully managed backend services like Firestore, so you can get your infrastructure set up quickly. We also offer products like Firebase Hosting, which you can use to deploy fast-loading and secure static web apps without all the hassle. But today, we're making it simpler to deploy your apps with popular dynamic web frameworks. To tell you more, let's welcome David on stage.
Hey everyone, my name is David East, and I'm a developer relations engineer on the Firebase team. And building with frameworks like Angular Universal and Next.js can be an incredible developer experience. And I say that because I built a thing or two with them. But when it comes to deployment, there are a few painful steps. See, these frameworks, they're server-driven. So you have to write the Cloud function, and then you have to wire up that Cloud function to Next.js or Angular's production server, and then you have to configure rewrites in Firebase.json. And after all that, you still have to manage the build and the deployment all yourself. But what if you didn't have to go through all these steps? Well, today I'm excited to announce that we have released an update to Firebase Hosting that streamlines development and deployment with modern JavaScript frameworks, all in a single Firebase command in the CLI. So just by running Firebase deploy, the CLI will now detect the framework, run the build, generate the Cloud function, its configuration, and handle the entire deployment. So let's see how this works. So right here, I have a Next.js app. And usually when I'm building with Next.js and Firebase, it's all these commands I got to remember. I got to remember to boot up Next.js's server, Firebase emulators. It's kind of a lot. So today, if I want to handle it all when I'm in development, I just run one command. And that command is Firebase emulators start. And if I want to start with a local seed of data, I pass in this import flag, and I point it to where it's stored. So now when I kick this off, it's going to do a lot. It's going to detect what emulators am I running. And then it's going to detect that we're in a Next.js code base. It's going to automatically kick off the build, and it's going to boot up Next.js's dev server. And then once it does that, it's going to boot up all of the local emulators that I'm running, and it's going to forward them all through the emulator hub. And once it's done booting up, it's going to give me this table that tells me all the emulators that are running and on what ports. And so I can see that hosting is running on localhost 4,999. So if I go here and click refresh, we have a changelog app. And this is going to be something we're demoing today because we have a lot of features that we're going to be deploying. But as you can see, it doesn't really do anything interesting. So let's change that. Let's add some releases. So one of my favorite things about using Next.js is the simplicity of the get server-side props function. Because like everything you run in this function runs on the server. But it's like on a client file, but this runs on the server. I don't know, it's kind of mind-blowing. It's cool. So if I want to get all of the releases, I can call this magical get releases function, which I promise it actually does something. It goes, it creates a query of all the releases in the collection, and then just gets the snapshots and returns them back. And so now that I have all my releases, I can just pass them back as props, save, and when I come back over here, we have all of these releases just server-driven, live reloaded, and I didn't have to run anything else. So this is cool, but I kind of wanted to do something a bit better. Like, it's always those small pieces that you want to add to the apps. And so I wanted to add this thing where I can count up the total features that have been shipped in the app. Well, I guess if I wanted to do that, I would have to do the count. I'd have to like create a Cloud function that updated on, that's a lot. So like any good developer does, we're just going to make a to-do. And we're going to just like do the counter thing in V2. All right. So now if I want to do a deployment, all I'd have to do is write Firebase deploy. And just like how we saw with the emulators, it's going to do everything but for production now. And I could run this, but deploys take time. So I'm just going to pull this out of the oven. And right here at firebase.press, we have this fully server-rendered app on Firebase Hosting with Next.js, and I didn't even have to write a single Cloud function. So what I showed you right there isn't just for Next.js and Angular Universal. We have added client-side build support for Vite, Preact, Lit, and Svelte. And we hope that these improvements make it easier for you to deploy your web apps. And you can get started by checking out the Firebase Hosting documentation today. And these updates, they are now available in preview. So we hope that you'll try them in your dynamic web apps. And we're committed to making this a great experience for you. So your feedback is very valuable. So send us an issue on GitHub. Back to you, Cara.
Thanks, David. Wow, wasn't that a seamless deploy? Now let's talk a bit more about your database, the heart of your backend. Firestore is our NoSQL document database that allows you to easily store, sync, and query data for your mobile and web apps without ever touching a server. But even with a reliable database, it can still be hard to perform scalable aggregations and manage data retention policies. For this reason, we're excited to announce 3 big updates to Firestore to help you simplify these tasks and speed up your app development. To tell you more, I'll pass it back to David.
Thanks, Cara. Queries are one of the most important aspects of a database because they help us organize and arrange our data. And over the years, in Firestore, we've added support for all sorts of queries, like in, not in, and array queries, and they give you more control over how you query your data. But we knew something was missing. Aggregation queries are one of the most requested features in Firestore, like ever. So up until today, if you wanted to get the count of a query, you would have to write a query and then count all the matching documents in the collection, or you could store a count in the database that updated on every single write operation. So I am incredibly excited today to announce preview support for a native count function in Firestore. Yeah, seriously, it's awesome. So now when you run a query or read from a collection, you can get the count of matching documents. So let's see this one in action. So remember how I want to do the count? Looks like I don't have to wait for V2 after all. So the way that you get the count is a lot like any other query you would write with Firestore. So I need to start out by getting an instance of Firestore. And then from there, I need to figure out what query do I want to write. Where is my collection? Or even better, what about sub-collections? And with that, collection group queries. Because I have a whole collection of releases, but all the features are stored as sub-collections. So if I want to get the count of all of the features across all releases, I can do that with a collection group query. And now from here, I can call the brand new get count from server function and then pass in the collection group. And this is going to give me back a snapshot. And then within this snapshot, I can get the total feature count by calling snapshot.data.count. And now when I pass this back to my UI, save, we can see that we have over 1,000 total features shipped. And count queries, they scale with your traffic and with the size of your database, and preparing you for growth. And speaking of growth, one of the core principles behind Firestore's design is scale. Firestore helps you focus on building features instead of worrying about dealing with the complexities of scaling up a database. But now, Firestore's scaling capabilities are better than ever, as we've improved its core capability to handle database writes and connections without any hard limits. And we've also made it easier to maintain a healthy database that only stores what's relevant and necessary. Because as your database grows, some content's going to become outdated, or you might have policies around data retention where you have to delete data after a certain period of time. And in the past for this, you had to spin up a cron job, and you had to determine which pieces of data needed to be deleted at what specific times. But wouldn't it be easier if you could just tag a document with an expiration date? Well, now, Firestore now has configurable time-to-live policies, or TTLs. So you can specify a field in a document, and that determines its lifetime. And Firestore then deletes each document after that date has expired. So now you don't have to pay for the data anymore, or you don't have to worry about it sticking around past your retention policies. And all of these Firestore features that we've covered today are available for use. So check out Firestore's documentation for all the details on getting started. And back to you, Kara.
Thanks, David. By adding the count query, removing hard caps, and adding TTLs, our goal is to reduce the time you spend managing and querying your database so you can focus on what's important, building your app and business. All right, so now that you've figured out how to store and manage your data, you need to keep it safe. A lot of apps ask users to log in order to provide a customized app experience. But building a secure authentication system is a really hard task with a lot at risk. Firebase Authentication is an end-to-end identity solution that makes signing in and managing your users easy. To tell you more about how we're protecting user data, I'm going to pass it to my teammate, Tyler.
Thank you, Kara, and hello, everyone. It's so great to be back in person. I'm Tyler Crow, a product manager on the Firebase team. As the world gets more connected, it's harder than ever to safeguard user data and protect customers' privacy because of the increased frequency and sophistication of attacks on systems. Today, I'm happy to announce 4 features we've built in partnership with Google Cloud to bring together the best of Firebase Authentication and Google Cloud Identity Platform. First, we've launched multi-factor authentication, or MFA for short, to help you safeguard your user accounts even if their password is compromised. We've also added support for the OpenID Connect standard and SAML, so you can use a wide range of sign-in methods like Slack and Discord without having to wait for custom integrations. And to help you create custom requirements for signing in or signing up, we've launched blocking functions. Blocking functions run synchronously and can enforce any logic that Cloud Functions for Firebase supports. And finally, to make sure all changes to your authentication settings are auditable and that you can have insight into your authentication usage, we've added full authentication integrations to cloud logging. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at how these features are in our app. So going back to the changelog app, let's build a blocking function that will restrict signups to the Firebase team. Now, I can add the custom logic that only allows people to create accounts if they have an email ending with Google. And it's important to combine this feature with email verification. You really want to make sure that the people actually own the emails they're signing up for. Let's check this out in the changelog app. So I'm back here in our changelog app, and I'm going to sign in a user using that blocking function we just created. Now, you'll notice we have the local host here with the sign-in, so we're not going to use a real email, but it still has to end with .google@google.com to make sure that it really is only a Firebaser who's adding to these changelogs. Now, since I'm on the Emulator Suite, I'm not actually going to check a real email, so I can just go over into our terminal, go find the emulators, and I'll find the URL here that would normally show up in an email. I'm going to grab this, I'm going to drop it in right here, and this lets me know that not only did this customer register that email address, but they also verified it immediately. Now, I can move on to the next step of adding multi-factor authentication. So I'm going to add a number, and just like we remember, we're on the Emulator Suite, so it's a fake phone number. And instead of doing an actual phone verification where I have to make sure I have signal inside this auditorium, I can get it right from the Emulator Suite again, the 6-digit code. So with that, I've not only added a blocking function, but I've also done an MFA. All of these new features are available in an upgrade called Firebase Authentication with Identity Platform. Go check it out in the Firebase console and upgrade today. So after making sure your app's sign-up is secure, it's important to set up security rules to make sure each user has access to the correct data. To help you with this, I'm pleased to share another new feature we've built to protect access to storage files, cross-service rules. With cross-service rules, you can now query Firestore from security rules in storage to protect access to files. Let's see how this works in our changelog app itself. So I have images for each release, and I want to make sure the only person who can update that image is the release author themselves. Previously, this was tricky because the data to allow access used to live in Firestore, not in storage. I used to have to create a function that would read from Firestore before allowing that image to upload into storage. Now, with cross-service rules, the security rules in storage can reference a document in Firestore directly, no function required. It uses a new method called Firestore Get to fetch authors and compare it to the user trying to modify the image. These rules are available today, and we hope you'll give it a try in your apps. You all probably noticed that all the features that David and I demoed were on the Emulator Suite. I'm excited to announce that you can test all of these new features we've mentioned in the Emulator Suite itself. It's a safe, local environment that lets you rapidly iterate and test before adding those features to your production app. And to top it all off, I'm excited to share that the Emulator Suite has graduated multiple services to GA. So if you haven't tried them before, spin up the Emulator Suite with the Firebase CLI. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Kara.
Thanks, Tyler. OK, so we've already covered a lot, from fast deployments of your modern web frameworks and hosting, to new features and functionality in Cloud Firestore, to enhance app security and cross-service security rules. We're making Firebase work better with other Google developer products and web frameworks, so you can get to the fun part of app development as fast as possible. Now you have your backend set up, but before you can start building features, you'll probably need to integrate services from a few third-party tools as well. To tell you more about how we're integrating your apps with the broader ecosystem of developer tools, let's welcome Sonakshi on stage.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sonakshi Vatal, and I'm a user experience designer on the Firebase team. Finding the right API that fits your app's use case can be time-consuming. You can spend hours going through documentation, and even when you find the right API, implementation, it can be a pain. And let's not even get into the time you spend maintaining the API. With Firebase Extensions, you can install prepackaged solutions that extend the functionality of your apps without the need to research, write, debug, or maintain code on your own. Since launching extensions in 2019, we've been hard at work, adding more extensions that help you integrate core services in your apps. Everything from payment processing to search to marketing. But with this growing number of extensions, it's become harder to discover and find the right extensions for your use case. So today, I'm super excited to unveil the new Extensions Marketplace to help you browse and find extensions quickly. Let's take a look. So I'm going to extensions.dev, which is the new Extensions Marketplace. And here it is. I can find new and existing extensions, filter by common use cases, and learn how to use extensions. You know what? I'm actually building a mobile app on the side where I sell my favorite coffee-related goods. And I want my customers to be able to order on the go. So I need in-app payments. Let's see if I can find an extension to help me with that. I'm going to go explore extensions. I see a search bar here, so let's just use that. Search for in-app. And I see in-app purchases by Purchasely. I've heard of them before and about their no-code payment solutions. So let's go look at the details. I can read about the extension, about how it works, and the configurable parameters that are available here. And I see this big button to install it in the console, which seems pretty straightforward, right? So that was pretty easy. I can now install and integrate the Purchasely extension into my mobile app, giving customers the ability to order on the go. The Purchasely extension you just saw is new and available on the Extensions Marketplace today. Our partners have also launched 2 other extensions. The Melee Search extension that allows you to easily search and index Firestore, and the Vonage extension that enables you to add video chat for customer support. But that's not all. Since extensions launched, you've been asking us how you can build your own extensions. And today, we're giving you that ability with the new Provider Alpha program. In this program, you can package up your solutions for common repetitive app development tasks and reuse them later. So go check out the Extensions Marketplace at extensions.dev today to discover Firebase extensions and sign up for the Provider Alpha program. Back to you, Kara.
All right. Once you've integrated features and have launched your app, you need to ensure your app is stable and delivers a high-quality experience to your users. So now let's invite Ibrahim on stage to talk about how Firebase provides you with actionable insights to run your app with confidence.
Thanks, Kara. Hi, everyone. Great to hear it back. I'm Ibrahim, an engineer on the Firebase DevRel team. Users expect your app to work as designed for their choice of device. So you want to make sure your app works across all devices and environments before you release it. Firebase offers products like TestLab, a cloud-based app testing product that integrates with your existing workflow and allows you to test your app on thousands of physical and virtual devices. But it's difficult to run tests on all the devices your customers use. Each type of test requires a unique setup and a set of different configuration steps. To simplify and standardize test configuration, I'm really excited to announce we've been working with our friends in Android on adding Firebase TestLab support to Gradle managed devices. Amazing, isn't it? You can now get access to all the devices supported by Firebase TestLab with a simple and consistent test configuration format introduced in Android's Gradle managed devices with just a single command line and without having to go into the Firebase console. To get started using Firebase TestLab and Gradle managed devices, you can upgrade to the latest preview release of Android Gradle plugin 8.0. So now that you've tested your app and ensured it works across all the devices and environments, it's time to launch. But around the launch time, buggy apps leave users feeling frustrated, and some of those users may not engage with your app again. Firebase Crashlytics, a real-time crash reporting tool, helps you prioritize and fix your most important crashes based on the impact on real users. A few months ago, at Google I/O, we unveiled the App Quality Insights window, which helps you discover, investigate, and reproduce issues reported by Crashlytics within the context of your local Android Studio project. This integration helps you identify where crashes are occurring across your code base and navigate from crash to code entirely within the IDE. We've heard from early adopters like Adobe that they love this new integration because it saves them time when searching for and linking crashes from the console to their code base. Now, we've upgraded we've graduated the App Quality Insights to the beta channel. And that's not all. We are still continuing to bring the best of Crashlytics to Android Studio with more features to further simplify your troubleshooting workflow. Let's look at them. First, we've added the ability to filter issues by play tracks to show you which crash events are happening in internal builds versus open beta versus in production. So you can prioritize what to focus on. And second, we have integrated signals from Crashlytics into the App Quality Insights. Signals analyze your crashes to uncover interesting commonalities and characteristics. They can tell you whether the issue is fresh, early, repetitive, or a regression. And finally, we've introduced notes so you can add comments to crashes to let your team know how your fix is progressing. And you can even close the issue right from the IDE. Thank you. As always, your feedback is extremely important in helping us improve the tools. So you can try out the new features of App Quality Insights today in the latest Canary release of Android Studio Flamingo. So with all the features we've added to App Quality Insights, you can track, prioritize, and fix your issues without ever leaving the Android Studio. In addition to making Crashlytics work better for IDEs like Android Studio, we are also improving our integration with cross-platform development frameworks like Flutter. Thank you. Flutter allows you to build beautiful, natively compiled, multi-platform apps with a single code base. And today, we are launching support with apps built using Split-debug-info. This is a recommended build option that can dramatically reduce your overall application size, giving your end users the best possible experience. Apps built with Split-debug-info will now see fully symbolicated stack traces in Crashlytics to help you pinpoint exactly where the problem occurred. You can upgrade to the latest version of Crashlytics for Flutter, get to Android support for now, and with iOS support available in the next few months. Thanks, everyone. Back to you, Kara.
Thanks, Ibrahim. As you just heard, we're taking important steps to integrate Crashlytics and Test Lab with Android dev tools to give you a more streamlined troubleshooting workflow. And not only that, but with Crashlytics, we're improving crash reporting for Flutter apps. Another way you can deliver the best experience for your users is to customize your app for their preferences. But customizing your app to suit individual user behavior and preference is impossible to do manually. That's where our latest remote config feature, personalization, comes in. Let's invite Steve to the stage to tell you more.
Thanks, Kara. Hey there. I'm Steve Wilbur. I'm an engineering manager working on Firebase. Part of delivering that great experience is tailoring your app to your users' individual needs and preferences. But doing that manually is a burdensome and time-consuming process. Remote config personalization can help automatically optimize individual users' experience to maximize the objectives you want using the power of Google's machine learning. With personalization, you provide the configurations that define different experiences in your app. Perhaps you'd like to vary the styling used in your checkout flow. Then you specify what type of event you'd like to optimize, like in-app purchases. And personalization takes it from there, applying the right configuration for each user, taking their behavior and preferences into account. Developers like Halfbrick and Ahoy Games have used personalization to grow their business by increasing ad revenue and in-app purchases. And today, I'm happy to share that we've made this an even more powerful tool to help you achieve your revenue goals. Now, in addition to optimizing for a particular type of event in your app, personalization also takes into account the value of that event. So, for example, you can go beyond maximizing the total number of in-app purchases. You can also optimize for the dollar amount of those in-app purchases. And this is really easy to set up. Let's do it together right now. All right, we're going to start a personalization to grow my revenue by tweaking the frequency at which I show ads in my app. Here I am in the remote config dashboard. And now I'll scroll down to my ad frequency parameter. This controls how often I'll show ads to my users on a per hour basis. To personalize ad frequencies, I'll edit this parameter. And I'll choose to create a new personalization. Here I can provide the different numbers of ads per hour. Let's say 3, 5, or 8 ads per hour. And next I can choose my objective. I want to maximize my ad impression events that I'm logging to Google Analytics. And those events also include the value of the impressions being served back from AdMob. So I'll choose to optimize for the sum of those values. Next, I'll choose to target all of my Android app users. Then I'll give my personalization a name. I'll save it. And then I'll publish those changes so they go live to my app. I'll also need to make sure that my app is fetching that ad frequency parameter. But that's it. The personalization is now running. And we have already seen developers having success using this new feature. Lyrebird Studio makes a collection of mobile photo editing apps. And they wanted to tune the frequency of ads they shoot at their users. But they knew there wouldn't be a one-size-fits-all solution. So they started a personalization just like the one we set up. They fed ad impression values into their app, allowing personalization to optimize ad frequency while taking into account the value of the ads being displayed. Developers that have spent time tuning their ad experience know how hard it is to get additional gains. But by setting up just this single personalization, Lyrebird Studio was able to increase ad revenue by 4% with minimal work on their end. To try out this feature, thanks. To try out this feature, head to the Remote Config tab in your Firebase dashboard. Back to you, Kara.
Thanks, Steve. It's amazing to see how Remote Config works seamlessly with Google Analytics and AdMob to optimize individual user experiences and maximize revenue using the magic of machine learning. Today, we share the many ways we're continuing to strengthen our integration across Google's developer products and making Firebase work better with the open ecosystem of tools so you can accelerate app development and run your app with confidence. As we look towards the future, we're invested in continuing to empower you to make your app the best it can be. On behalf of the team, thank you for joining us today and continuing to invest your time and voice in helping us shape the future of Firebase.